Hello, welcome back to another segment in excerpts from a Spiritual Ascension. This video is meant to find you where you are currently on your journey. So I want to start saying this beforehand because I think sometimes people jump off before the end of the video, but I am a psychic medium. I am a spiritual teacher. Um, I'm also a Reiki Master, and through my experiences, um, I know a lot of people are looking for someone to reach out to help them understand their own journey of what they're going through in this ascension process. So if you would like to spend time with me, understand anything about spirituality, questions, hear my story, more about my story, there is a link below to book time with me. Um, Also, I've done several courses on the ascension process, and there is also a link below for that. So, as you see the title, Patience and Gratefulness, which for gratefulness in spirituality, most people think, okay, that's just a part of being, a spiritual person is being grateful. But there's a way to actually understand how to create a sense of being grateful in order to manifest the things that you want to come in for yourself. So I'm going to touch on that a little bit later. But one of the first things, as I said, my father in spirit, my grandmother, grandfather, actually all four of my grandparents who were already deceased, my father who was deceased, my son who was killed in a car accident when he was 19. All of them came back to me when this first started back in 2017. And they all each gave me very distinct information and instructions on what I needed to do. I didn't understand what any of this meant. Um, Receiving these instructions, like my father told me, you're going to leave your job, and I had been working on my Wall Street job for almost 20 years at that point, and that was my income and my livelihood, and I didn't understand how it was even a possibility for me to do that. Um, but one of the other instructions from all of them, it was kind of like the way it came out was like a combined um, voice from all of them saying to me to have patience, to learn patience. And being, being a Sagittarius, fire sign, don't have patience, never had patience. I always was always jumping to the next thing, wanted the next thing, couldn't wait for the next day or the next week or when this was going to happen. Did not know what patience was. And that was like one of the last things they had said to me in that reading that I had on that day was to learn patience. And I learned patience. So if there's anything I can you receive or get back from this video today is that my journey took 5 years. Now, when you think ahead to the future 5 years, like it's 2025 now, thinking of 2030, you're like, oh my God, that's like a long time from now. There's no way, you know, that if I started my journey today, that thinking I won't be done till 2030. Again, your journey may be a lot shorter than mine. Your journey may be a little longer than mine. It all depends on the things that you need to get rid of from your previous life, and then what you need to go through in order to change, um, to delete the things of who you were in that previous life. So, can I say 5 years ago, when I look back to who I was, and I'm nothing, I'm the same person, have the same, body, have the same um, health problems, and maybe a little bit more now, right? Uh, I still have my skills that I had, but maybe more increased since then. But there was this whole different sense of what was important then and what is important now. Um, I put a big emphasis, I've done videos on um, living a more simple life because you're probably going to end up getting rid of, if not all, or most of the things that were in your previous life, be them situations, be them people, be them material objects. So I have absolutely probably 6 things that I've counted that I've brought with me that I had 5 years ago. Anyway, getting back to patience, if my family and spirit had said to me, okay, it's going to take you 5 years to go through this journey, I would have said, what? Are you kidding me? Now, this was 2020 when this started, April of 2020. And if they said to me, this is going to end April of 2025, I would have been like, oh, heck no, I'm not doing this. Nope, I don't have the patience. 5 years? What am I going to be doing for 5 years? The thing is, the divine knows us as humans, what we can take and what we can't take, what we're able to survive through and what we can't. We were chosen, the word chosen, to take on this process. We chose it also before we came into this life because of our abilities to have patience or even to learn patience, to be strong enough, our soul to be strong enough to go through this. Because if you know you are an old soul and you've gone through many, many lifetimes where you've built up this fortitude within yourself to be able to handle, and it's come to this lifetime now, um, to be able to handle anything that came towards you, whether it be physical, mental, emotional, you're going to be able to handle it as much as you probably think you're not going to be, because you're going to come into a lot of situations which are extremely, extremely difficult. If you've been following my story, I've just gotten to the part now where I've, was told also, um, by spirit that I would be working with homeless women. I had no idea what that meant. I didn't know that I was going to end up in a homeless shelter. I worked on Wall Street. I made 6 figures. You know what I'm saying? How did I go from there to there? Things will get different, but my story is going to be totally different than your story. But just know that you will get through it because you were chosen. You chose to take this path. Okay. Getting back to patience. If you were told beforehand that your journey, like mine, was going to take 5 years, you'd be like, oh no, I'm out of this. I'm not doing this. That's why I had no idea when it first started what was happening. Things were falling apart. I couldn't get back to, um, I had moved from New York during the international epidemic. I don't know if I could say that on YouTube, but I've been saying that instead. But anyway, it had moved during that time in 2020 when it first hit. And it's kind of weird how timing kind of happened along my path too, to be with a family member, to help her out. Hopefully, you're going through my story. So, in some way, that's going to help you to understand what you may also go through. Not the same things, but the challenges. Okay. Um, and my whole thing was I thought I was only going to be there for maybe 6 months and then get back to my home base back in New York. And as much as I struggled to um, get back there, everything I tried to do is what I call spiritual paralysis, where you're not able to move one way or another. It's kind of like the divine putting you on a timeout, where I've been on several timeouts. You're being held in place. And understand too, it's all about divine timing. Things may not be set up for you in order to move on, or perhaps that you need to learn something in the space that you are at that time. Okay. Um, but the whole time I kept saying, okay, maybe after this happens, maybe my blessings will come. I knew something about my father had another thing my father had said to me was the best is yet to come. So remember those words. I'll probably title one of my videos that the best is yet to come. Thinking of where I was when I went into the shelter, that was 2.5 years into my journey from being there to where I am now. Oh my goodness. It's like night and day. And there's still difficulty that I had to go through for the next 2.5 years of getting through that period. But now where I'm at, oh my goodness, you have no idea the blessings that have already come and that continue to come. Um, and that's a good segue to bring me into being grateful wherever you are on your journey, as dire as that situation seems at the time, knowing that you are blessed because you've been chosen, you chose to go through this journey in this lifetime, and that the divine is backing you 100%. No harm is going to come to you. You're going to have a lot of difficulties, really hard times, deal with a lot of really not nice people, have really dire circumstances, but no harm is ever going to come to you. Um, and just being grateful for where you are at whatever point you are on your journey. Um, when I went into the shelter, the thing was I was trying to get away from this abusive family member. And just being there, as hard as it was to think, oh my God, I have to go into a shelter. Just like not so long ago, I was working on Wall Street, you know what I'm saying? And now, like 3 years later, I'm in a shelter, sleeping on top of a bunk. I had Gucci shoes, not so long ago, Gucci bags and stuff. And, but at that point, being away from that family member who was treating me like trash and having that safety away from that person, even though now I had different circumstances to deal with, just being so grateful at that moment that I was delivered from that circumstance. So it's kind of more of embodying um, an aura of being grateful at all times. It's going to get difficult at some times. Like, I don't want to do this anymore. I'm done. Like, there was times where I'm like, I'm ready to just lay down and die. That's how bad situations got at some point. Like, spirit, I can't go on. This is so hard. But it's like spirit pushing me forward, you know, and things would turn around in some way. Um, and just being grateful at that moment that I knew the divine was backing me. And I'm starting to get emotional. um, that I had a purpose in this, and the divine was showing me. Understand if you are on this journey that you are um, one of the ones going forward to go through this so that you can lead others later on through their own journey. Okay. All right. So, talked about patience, talked about gratefulness, and I just want to thank you guys. And I'm grateful that you guys are here and are patient with me as I talk about my story. Please like, share, and subscribe, and I will see you next time.